Weekend of drinking, heavy drinking. On a Sunday, he decided that let's go check out some houses. At that point in my life,
Segue. I was trying to get him out.
I was drinking shit.
Yo, what's happening? This is yet another episode of the TMS podcast that's coming through. The third episode. It's yet another weekend and yet another ultra that's happening next door. So don't mind that. You know what I mean? We still got some amazing conversations lined up for you throughout the season. So be sure to check out some episodes that came through previously. But right now, today we're basically talking to a younger version of ourselves and some of the financial decisions that we made. We differ on the decisions that we made when we're still lighties to what we think about certain things now. So we're just getting to that thing that we spoke about in the previous episode about becoming to unbecome. You know what I mean? That whole theory of the things that you wish that you would have known back in the day that you know round about now. And we're going to kick things off with the purchase of property just after the hubby is set up. You know, it's the most integral part of the conversation.
Make it right.
Yeah, so the conversation that we're having today is about whether if you knew what you know now, when it comes to buying and renting property, what would you have done? What is the decision that you would have made? Would you still have bought if you already own a property, or maybe even stay at home? Let's actually just throw that in the mix as well. Stay at home for a bit longer, maybe save up a bit of money and buy your property cash, or rent until you get to a point where you feel like you're stable enough, because we live in a world where people love to move around, right? Now you've gotten a bond and you're wondering whether you still want to stay in that household, and even renting it out, the market may not be great. So there's a lot of factors that go into it. So what would you have done had you known what you know now back when you were still 20 years old?
So we're all in and amongst 32 and 33 years of age.
Yeah.
So
Hope no one's lying.
Yeah.
You guys think that I'm Hey, yo guys, 88. Guys, I'm always just trying to keep my vibe.
Unabridged.
So every time we come and shoot TMS, I must come with an unabridged.
Anyway, so I'll start this side. So I'm just gonna give it short, and then we'll go around, and then we can start with the just
dissecting. Yeah.
So basically, for me, I bought at 25.
Yeah.
Only because I missed my graduation. I was in Canada, and my friends.
Travel.
But for me, it was because I missed my graduation. Because I left literally the year that everybody was going to the grads and stuff. And my parents don't have that thing that you guys have. The picture with the grad gown and everything, right? So for me, it was like, fuck, how do I make
You graduated remotely.
Yeah. Then I was Skyped in. Don't Skype me into that shit.
So you were pre-COVID.
I was there in fucking...
In the 6. Toronto, stand up!
5 a.m., dog. Anyway, so because of that, I felt like I had to overcompensate. And quicker I get to a point where my parents can have something tangible that they can say, this nigga went and studied this and he can actually sustain himself. That represented that.
Yeah.
So at 25, I decided, fuck, the moment I realized I can afford the loan, I went and did that. But knowing what I know now, I would never have bought at 25. I would have bought at 35 or 33 at the end of this year. I would never have touched it.
You were actually the first one. You were the
you put the pressure.
of the purchasing.
So my situation was weird. So I was 23 at the time, and
Yes. The guys are supposed to car someone now.
I was 23 at the time, and when I think back, I also would have pushed it out a little bit for various reasons. But I think the real reason was that there was a lot of tension at home. The tension being that I was always out and about, and my old lady was just like, look, you're spending a lot of money on the streets. It makes no sense financially for you to be in that situation. Rather get out the house, because you and I are not seeing eye to eye, and do something for yourself, right? So it was that type of conversation. So she gave me a bit of a timeline, and I was like, listen, 6 months, you need to be out of here, right? So at 23, I decided, instead of renting, let me try and own some kind of property, and got into it. But just on that was that you always don't understand everything when you go into buying into property. Can I go into a bit of detail?
Yeah, let's just go
All
around.
right, like right now, I would definitely say that I would rather have pushed it out a little bit later.
To what age? Plus minus?
28. I think I would have been in a better place to make a decision.
Yeah, to me it symbolizes something very different because from where I come from, right? I would say that I was one of those stories of being the first one to graduate, being the first one to acquire certain things. So I felt like there was so much pressure on me from myself and not even from anybody, right? From myself, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go and do this thing because this is like a symbol of breaking the cycle of poverty from where I come from and moving forward, right? And without even considering things because we didn't know anything. You know, you saw,
you knew enough.
I was just hanging out with this guy, and it's something that I've always wanted, and this guy just did it. I was like, my God, let me just, let me just go for it. And it was literally like that because the property that I bought, I was still, I think, about 24, 25 as well, and I'd gone out for a jog, bro. I was renting an apartment in Midrand. I'd gone out for a jog. There was an off-plan development site there. I walked in, they're like, "Now we just need this much money from you." And I went to the bank quick, found that money, came back to them and bought a property from a jog, right? But knowing what I know now, I also would have considered renting a bit longer. But looking at the value and the market prices of property right now, I still believe that buying was a great decision.
100%.
Well, I'm going to get back to that.
I'm of a contrasting opinion.
Your shirt is about a 10.
Fine.
Because of the bicep.
Fine.
It's a real bicep, eh?
No, leave that. Leave
For
that.
Chelsea.
If it was something that I could control in terms of time travel, I would have actually bought earlier. I'm of a differing opinion because because for me the journey, I started it slightly later than you guys. I think I was 26, 27, somewhere there when I.
That's the same age group. 23 and 26, same age group.
Okay.
It took
my belief is that had I started early, and I don't know if I can share the example that I have now or when we unpack it. Okay, when I started work, my first year starting work, which was 2012, there was a off-site, off-plan, whatever development there in and around where my parents stay. And when I think back to, had I entered that thing, I would have been so far off because my sort of investment plan involves the asset base that I want to have involving property. So had I started at that stage at 2012, then by now, instead of being on 3 properties, I might have been on 4, 5, 6, or whatever the case.
You're on 3 right now.
As a collective, as a household, yeah.
You're on 3.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, this is the
as a household.
He's not only a media mogul.
So what I'm saying is, had I started at that stage in 2012, then who knows where I would have been now. And I understand the hang-ups of property ownership. It's immense. It's admin. It's costly. It's very costly, but at the same time it's rewarding because right now as we speak I was dead broke until my tenant paid me rent. So that's
also
the situation.
Bore fruit.
Yes.
No, it's a Saturday. We understand when English decides to just take a rest before it. But like Paul says though as well, I don't believe it was such a bad decision.
It wasn't.
It wasn't a bad decision because if you look at the property prices in Johannesburg, for example, now, right? If you're looking to get a brand new house for about 600,000-700,000 rand, you're not getting anything in like a decent suburb, right? In 2021, in a decent suburb, you're not getting anything. Even in the hood, it's hard for you to even get anything for 700,000 rand. Nowadays, I promise you, it's getting up there. Not getting you anything.
Actually, example, River Sands, when they started that thing, they were popping those houses out at 400. Remember, River Sands is Kasi-esque. But, you know, they were starting at 400. Now those things are 8 clips.
The pop, whatnot.
Behind Bo Macro there, Those things are now at 800, bro.
But so back then, I did not understand the concept of being able to afford it, right? Because you have this idea that you'll be getting into a bond and that's all you're going to be paying, and I have not considered a number of other costs. Levies, things break and you have to go and fix those things, and like a lot of things actually go wrong in properties, and all of that has to come out of your pocket. So when you look at the renting aspect, though some people may think that renting is wasting money, you could have been paying that money towards that mortgage, but in essence you're only going to be paying your mortgage after 10 years of even having that mortgage. So basically in the first 10 years of having it,
capital aspect of the mortgage.
The capital aspect of the mortgage, you'll be paying interest for the first 10 years. So it also varies, right? Like depending on whether you have money. If I have 300,000, right? And for example, a property is 300,000 and I have an option of buying a property or investing in other things, I would opt to go invest in other things instead of locking all of that money into something that's immovable, something that is fixed, that I cannot easily liquidate.
So I have a bit of a counter argument, right? So
I think get you off the bond.
Yeah, so my counter argument is slightly different, is that also the number one reason why we need property, why you need to sleep, you need to eat, you need to put your head down somewhere, right? So that's the primary driver. So whether you're going to rent or whether you're going to buy now.
Correct, yeah, you can get that from
regardless, you need somewhere to sleep.
Now the next thinking or thought process, my decision tree thinking is that, okay, do I want to give someone else that amount of money from a rent perspective on a month-to-month basis, whereby I would say it's infinite, because the decision on when to buy is not decided there and then, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know when I'm going to buy. So I could be spending 80,000 in a year. I could be spending 200,000 over 2 years or whatever it may be. Rather, I go into a house and at least I know I'm contributing X percentage to a bond that is a title deed towards my name.
Yeah.
So the rationale is slightly different to say, okay, cool, I have a property that's on my name, right? But also I'm living in it and utilizing it to fulfill me from a day-to-day perspective. So the actual rent piece actually starts disappearing, because I'm going to spend that money irrespective of whether I am renting.
It's a sunk cost.
It's a sunk cost. It's a thing that needs to happen. It's the same with transport, and we can go into that in another day. But you know for a fact you're spending X amount of money on sleeping. So therefore, rather apportion it to something that at least you can say, in 25 years, I own something, as opposed to saying in 25 years, I don't own anything and I'm still liable to renting from someone else, you know? So that's just the one thing.
But, so, sorry.
No, we're due to hear from Hype.
Yes, Hype, give us a check.
Alright.
Very
good.
hell.
So I agree with what Pat was saying. You always need somewhere to stay, right? Unless you're sleeping in your car, that is a sunk cost. You have to deal with it on a constant basis. I wanted to share my story like a house song in the beginning, so I'll just do that very quickly. So for me,
share my story to the world.
My story is, I used to stay with Tata once. And after a weekend of heavy drinking, on a Sunday, he decided that, let's go check out some houses. At that point in my life,
Segue. I was trying to get him out.
I was drinking shit. It was
He was dying. You put clothes in the washing machine, they were blue. When they came out, everything was pink. Anyway, carry on.
My nigga was trying to get rid of me. But anyway.
No, you got rid of yourself.
So we ended up cruising. Yeah, so I was like tired. I was like, nah, bro, let me sleep. You know, we've been drinking all weekend. He's like, dude, let's go. We went. Check this stuff out. And in that moment, I was like, this guy's done this before. Why should I not do it? Very similar to the way Lips actually explained it. So, to be honest with you, there was no big thought process behind it for me. I was just like, let me move out and get my own space. And I bought a house. End of story.
Fine.
Yeah. But I just want to go on to another level. For me, when it comes to the rental aspect,
make fast.
Yeah, make fast. For the rental aspect of it, right? When you are, like he said, you have to actually pay money out in order for you to have a place to stay, etc., etc. But for me, because our lives have changed so much, we're not in the olden days where everyone used to just settle and everything is done. We're going to be here and work from here, everything. Our lifestyles have changed. The way we move, we're amorphous in terms of how we move. So I really believe that maybe going into a rental space, if it is right for you as the subject, if you are amorphous, then it might be a better option. That's my assumption.
So wait, before you enter, so the thing is that I agree with the rental chat, right? Is that it has to have a plan. So you can't be in a rental situation that's indefinite, right?
Yeah.
You need to have a plan because ultimately you are sinking money into a hole that you'll never recoup ever again. So you need to walk into a situation and say,
but you need a place to sleep.
100%.
Yeah, so you are paying for that as much as you are paying for water.
I need
you know what I mean?
Give me the mental
But here's the thing, right? When you're older, when you're older, right, and you look at your life as a whole, 20 years in, and you've just been renting, the worst thing that you can look at is saying, I don't even own a single brick or mortar or anything. Now, I'm passing the mic on to you.
Fine, thanks for the conch. Lord of the Flies.
Yes.
Listen, so the reason why I say I would never have bought, one, because I like staring at money.
What does money do when you stare
at it?
I like seeing it.
Cash is king.
When I look at my bank account and I have 100K from, let's say, a bonus, right? I look at it. I like looking at it, and I want to find ways to make that cash grow.
Yeah.
Not look at bricks, because right now, remember I renovated my apartment. Guys, that shit did nothing for me when I sold my apartment to my dad, which is technically not my dad in terms of I sold to the trust. Come back to me fine because I can move back there if all shit fails.
We're all good.
When I did the math with Sunday, we're like cool.
Talk about that later.
We're like cool. Okay, cool. So this apartment I bought for $795. Cool. I bought for $795. We're gonna run over that. I bought for $795K. Right, 2-bed, 1-bath apartment in Portsmouth. I was alone. I'm being specific just for context. Right? I was alone. It's big enough, right?
Yeah.
Nigga comes through. You can pass out another room. It's cool. There's nobody here. So when I did the math, I don't work at a bank, guys, which is why Tato, Hype, and Paul might be misrepresentative of our reality by interest rate. I bought it for $795. When I moved in, guys, I was paying $9.2. But the reason why I did it was because of the context I gave you at first. But I realized later, fuck me, I'm getting ass raped on a dome.
How much would rent have been?
Rent could have been at the time $7.5.
Yeah, so you'd be losing.
There's still levies, dog. That 9.2 is excluding levies, dog.
And rates.
Rates, yes. So I'm losing. Right?
Yeah, so actually about 11.
Yeah, 11. Yeah, it was about 11.5.
Yeah.
And then they call you with like special
that's such a lazy car.
I hate that. We're improving the pavement, paying $500 more for the next 3 months.
I'm not trying to extract rag.
Right? I'm trying to make fast ends. So what I said to myself, I was like, dog, actually, at 25, what I should have done is rented an apartment for $6,000, studio. Right?
Fine.
But your clothes will be smelling like curry.
No,
let him continue. Yeah.
Spend $6,000, for example, right? I'm saving 5.5.
25? Are you gonna save it?
No, but we're talking. Listen, okay, fine. The disclaimer,
perfect scenario.
The disclaimer is perfect scenario. Where there's discipline involved.
Yes.
Save 5.5. Put that 5.5 away for the next 10 years when I'm 35.
Okay.
Mind you, salaries are increasing, there's bonuses and there's all the
you may be making some more money,
100%. By the time I get to 35, after renting for 10 years, having saved the money instead of buying a GTI and buying vertical badge, I've got a rack. When I come here and I say, hey,
about 600K.
I want this crib, give me a rack. And mind you, that 600K that I've saved, I don't give away all the cash because I need to always have shit in my pocket.
Yeah, in
I've
case
got a lot more
goes
negotiation power.
Liquidity.
When we're buying then, dog, then we're like, yo,
you're just taking whatever it is that's on the table.
I'm an owner. No, you're not an owner. You're not an owner.
The bank
owns it, dog. You gotta pay this shit off. Thank God I sold to my dad, which made the whole selling process easier for me. But that's why, for me, I would have just kept it. I would have just rented a bachelor, saved. But life happens. You meet Sanea, she has a kid. You need more space. It doesn't work out that way.
So let me put it to you this way, and I'm gonna be brief as well.
Yes.
We are in the system or the situation rather that Fight Club tried to explain where there's this huge ass financial situation.
Matrix.
Yeah, there's a matrix that we're part of. And as Game put it in his first album, the quality of your life depends on your ability to play the game.
Yeah.
So you need to play the game. Now, the game involves, in this financial matrix that we find ourselves in, which is primarily capitalism or whatever the case is, that's another story. But you need to have something to show for it in order to gain assets and in order to sort of improve your value of life. For me, that stems from balance sheet management.
100%.
Now, when you acquire a property, let's say from day one it is 100k, you take the loan, it's 100k, the property is valued at 100k. Fine, for the first year you're paying it off, it's probably still 100k that you owe. But the property valuation in the perfect world, remember we're talking perfect world scenario.
In a perfect market,
It grows, whereas what you owe decreases. Now you start to have equity in that. That equity you can leverage for the same purpose that you're saying, where you are able to negotiate, because you do, in a weird way, have cash at hand because of the equity and the property growth. But that's in the perfect world.
An excess bond as well.
Yes, exactly.
But even you don't even need an excess one, but carry on.
Even with that equity though, but you still have to pay closing costs to access that equity.
Fine.
So there's just money there. So you'll be losing money to the banks, thinking that you made money from your equity. I started subscribing to a point of view where if you don't have 40% of something, you can't afford it.
That's a heavy chat.
You really cannot afford it. If you go into I've been making many grocery store analogies, but if you go into today, you know what you can afford. If Koli is 20 bucks, you're not gonna get that Koli if you have 9 rands. And basing it on projected earnings, because that's essentially what the credit world is. Projected earnings, while they're just killing you with interest. For 10 years, you are paying interest on a loan for 10 years, right? And only after 10 years can you start moving towards, I understand that the property price is growing and everything like that, but like 10 years, guys. 10 years, guys. You could save up that money and come in with a higher deposit.
Discipline.
Okay, I have one now. Just to like bring out together everything that you said, because all of you have agreed there's certain things you would have done at an earlier stage. Now the young ones are coming in for those who have and are ready to bring forth. What are you telling them?
So I've got a point here. So
what are you telling them?
What I'm telling them, one point.
Point.
I would say if you have the money, right, do not tie yourself down to an institution where you're being charged high interest rates. Get yourself invested in endeavors that will bring revenue into your situation.
But the layman doesn't have that foresight.
So what? Yeah, that's why we're giving them advice, right? Is to say, look, if you are at home and you're not paying rent and you're not being fiscally constrained,
stay at home.
Stay at home for as long as you can. Use your money to create another stream of income. Buy that house, don't stay in that house, rent it out, pay it off, buy a property in the township or wherever it is, convert it into a revenue generating
major
endeavor.
Key. Property in the township, major key.
Major.
So people are sleeping on.
Major key.
Buy a house in the township at a cheaper rate, convert it, build some units in it, create a revenue stream that will last you for a long period of time.
Wants to be in the
now, hear me out. Just to close off my last point is that once you have that on your income statement, right, you can leverage that to go get that house, not on your money, but other people's money. And the most important thing is to make sure you're not using your money to expand your endeavors. Rather make your money grow. Read The Richest Man of Babylon. That's a good book.
Richest Man of Babylon.
Yeah, if you don't have money, don't buy it, guys. Like, that's just me. If you don't have money, don't be fooled. Don't think that, because now we have this concept that because you can afford an installment, affording an installment does not mean that you afford stuff. You don't have money. If you don't have 40%, don't go buy the property.
You can afford to be a slave.
Exactly. Even having a salary doesn't necessarily mean you can afford anything.
And should anything go south, you lose employment. COVID-19 has taught us that jobs are very precarious.
You're dust.
It's a wrap for you.
You're dust.
You remember all the money that you sunk into that thing when the banks come to go.
Quick one.
Repossess that thing.
My thinking is, if you have a plan, so if you're gonna buy in jail just for the sake of buying, maybe make sure that you're at a different stage in your thinking or in your fiscal abilities. That's fine, but if you have a plan, then you can leverage the bank's money fucked up. Don't use your own money to make money ever. That's a rule that is now becoming a popular theme, but if you can, make use of, I read a book, How to Make Money Off Rental or whatever. the first.
I think I have that book.
Yeah, the first sort of money that you must use of your own is the first property. Going from there, you're gonna use the bank's money to acquire more assets, and that'll generate you more income. That's my thinking. It's not a universal thinking.
Yeah.
But where possible, leverage other people's money to make more money.
Can I just touch on a very quick concept? Very quick concept on amortization.
Yeah,
because a house is 4 million rand and you think you can afford it with your salary, it's not true. If you actually look at the value on day one, you are looking at 8.5 million. If you amortize it over the term in which you're actually tied to the bank.
Which is where it helps to put 1,000 extra, but that's another topic.
That's another story. We're going into heavy detail, but I think it's important that people actually look at that through a different lens and through a different prism when they actually go into that kind of investment.
I am 100% agree with you. I only learned it last year when it comes to business as well. If I have 100k of my own money, which I sunk 250k of my own money into a business, I should never have done that. But I did, it's part of the journey. I should have just borrowed money, use the bank's money to make my own money, have my own cash, backup pocket for in case I need it.
Yeah.
And if I need to repay the bank, I save my own pocket.
Here you go.
Yeah, that's it.
Get out of my face.
Just like property. I should never have gone into it when I went in. Personally, I would never have gone into it when I went into it. I was going to go into it 3 years from now. 3 years from now with cash to say leverage, but not my own. Don't take my own. Give me yours when you get into my into my house. I'm in my house, I've got my 250. I'm nice. Let me focus on your repayments.
Stop paying deposits on
I hope
stop paying deposits on cars and property.
Stop paying that shit.
I hope COVID-19 has taught people about liquidity. You need to be liquid. You need to be liquid.
People are flexing on like, lips boy.
You get to 20%, but that's how
It's an ego chat.
Yeah, that's how we wrap it up. And don't forget that this does not constitute any financial advice. Guys, because we'll get sued. Our friends that we're giving financial advice. This does not constitute financial advice. You'll have to just make those decisions yourself. You know, like you are grown enough. If you are considering buying a property, just look at your financial situation, read, find out from people that have actually walked that journey, and just find out. Just find out what it is. You know, chat to the right people, man. And that's how we come to the end of this episode. Thank you very much for tuning in once again.
Brooklyn, stand up!